Hi Darius, thank you so much for joining, man.
Thank
It's
you,
a
man.
pleasure to have you.
Awesome,
Tell
man.
us something about who you are, where are you from, before we deep dive into your trading journey, your strategies, your risk management, how you became a profitable prop trader. Because I have seen your results.
Yeah.
I have seen that how you trade well and how you have made profits with Funded Squad as well, and also you have done a lot of payouts with other pro firms. So before we deep dive into all of that, tell us who you are, where are you from?
So I'm Darius. I'm right now 26 years old and I'm from Austria. Originally, my parents are from Romania. This is why many people always ask me from where I am because of my name. And yeah, I'm trading right now almost 6 years. I started with network marketing.
That's
That was my start. I think this is right now more popular, especially in our country. Many people are doing this kind of stuff. And at the beginning, it was for me very interesting to be there because I came from a higher technical school for software engineering and I was not really a good student. Like I even failed it. I repeated the classes. I did 3 times the same class. Most of my teachers always thought about, yeah, it's not looking so good for your future because of that thing. But still, they all see something in me. Like they never told me like I'm an idiot or something, but I was someone who didn't want to learn because I didn't really enjoy software engineering. So I started to look for some other things that I could start. And I always wanted to be self-employed. Maybe that comes from my parents because they are by their own self-employed. And this is why I also wanted to do something. And then there was some guy on Instagram. He was from my town there in Austria. But yeah, in Austria, you don't really have too much towns. You have more than likely villages. So everyone is always trying to see what's going on. And everyone wants to get kind of successful because everyone is doing there the same kind of stuff, drinking and party and stuff like this. And then when someone is doing something else, then everyone has like their eyes on that. And that one guy just texted me and said, hey, Darius, what's up? What's doing? And so on. And he had like already a couple of followers and it dragged my attention at the end. And then we talked about businesses and he said, I'm going to introduce you to something. And that was forex trading back in the days, but it was through network marketing. And that was interesting for me to see because I never seen kind of a system like this where you can actually just refer someone to get in your system and then you can earn money through that. So at the beginning, I was not even trading. I was more than likely just selling something. And then I realized that the product itself was not so good. Like they sold some signal stuff, was not really interesting. So I started to learn trading by my own with one of my friends. And we wanted to kind of make money because when I started with those signals, I made in the first trade, that was the signal, I made $300 and that was on a 600 account. And I was like, how does that work? Just by clicking 1-2 buttons. And yeah, it was like, I didn't knew it at that time, but it was actually a signal I caught with 200 pips on gold. And now I understood why that happened. And I've lost in the next trade because it was again on gold, but the drawdown was heavily. And I don't know how I did it at the beginning, but I copied multiple signals. I've used probably my first concept, which was buy low, sell high. This is what I understood, just marking some random support trend lines. And then I kind of come to the conclusion what I could do. And I really flipped like 1,000 into 18,000 in just 3 weeks. And I was like, how did this happen?
Yeah, like turning 1,000 into 18 within few weeks of you starting, that's incredible. Like, so when you just started, you turned 1,000 into 18,000. So what were you feeling? Like, what were your reaction when you saw that the balance is now 18,000?
I don't know, like it was really crazy because at the beginning, I couldn't even believe it. And I talked into my friends and stuff. And this is why they all joined at that point because I turned it so fast. And then everyone was like, how are you doing that?
I want to do that. Do it as well. Yeah. That's what they do. When you are starting out, they will always tell you, you don't have to do it. It's not going to work out. But when they see that you have turned some profits, you are making some profits, and especially turning 1,000 into 18,000, everyone is going to come and ask you, tell us how you are doing it.
That's true. But then I actually blowed it in just 1 day or so. And it was because of gold. So then again, I started trading and I said, okay, this time I'm doing it with risk management because I think you learn very fast the basics of risk management so that you have to do it, but you never like are doing it for real. Like you just know it. And then I started again with 1,000 in deposit. And then I flipped it one more time. And this time was even crazier because I flipped it into 30,000, but it took me 1 month. And then I already imagined, all right, I'm going to buy a new Audi, new car and everything, talk with my friends, new shoes, clothing, all that things. And then my parents haven't been there at that time. And I was so excited to tell them, hey, I just made so much money. because I know how hard it is to make real money. Like,
that's true.
When you see like someone who is working in a classic entrepreneurship, you know how hard that is. A lot of taxes you have to pay on and so many things and employees. And for me, like I just did it with my phone. And then before I could tell them, I've lost it.
You lost. I was thinking that's going to be the case. You're waiting for them to come and you're going to tell them that I've made 30,000. And by that time you lost all because you could not wait, right?
Yeah, it was a very bad trade. And I just kept on holding it the entire time. And then I stacked on positions and then boom, everything was gone. That was then also like a starting point for me where I then actually couldn't do anything. Like I've lost every other account that I deposited.
Perfect. Makes sense.
Couldn't replicate this entire thing.
This was 6 years ago, right?
Yeah, that was 6 years ago.
At that time, you were doing network marketing, or was it before you started trading, you were involved in network marketing?
Yeah, it was like all at the same time.
All right.
But then I stopped doing network marketing. Like I did it for only 5 months or so.
Okay.
And because the product didn't work, I was not selling it anymore. I was like, okay, what am I doing here? At the beginning, everyone is just telling you, you just have to sell it. It works. You're just doing it because of wrong risk management. And I was like, no, it doesn't work. Like this is not a proven trading edge. So what am I telling the people? I don't want to tell them that, hey, you should buy this thing. It's actually really ridiculous what they're doing. And I think it's like probably one of the biggest scams and people don't even see it. And there are so many people with big following in that one space and they're all trying to promote it and just like to save their own ass at the end and not to really like give something back. Like for me, it was a very interesting perspective at the beginning. Like you selling something, you earn money by referring something that works and makes them more money. But at the end, they all lose money and nobody makes money. Only those ones who are selling it. And that is something which I think is also right now in the normal Forex space as well. We have so many people who are so-called mentors and they just try to sell their courses, signals, educations, whatsoever, just to save their own ass at the end because they're not really profitable.
And that's true. You know, when I see a lot of traders, they are just flexing their cars, their watches and everything, and they're just trying to rip everyone off so that they can make money. Yeah. And if you ask them, where are your payouts? Give us some sort of track record. They don't have any, and they just come up with some stories that we are managing this much money, we are taking care of that, all that BS that you see online. And most of the time you will see them just making money by selling courses and they don't have anything else to do and they are not real traders. I want to talk about that during that time when you were turning 1,000 to 18,000 and then later on you turned to $30,000 before you lost all and you blew a lot of accounts after that. What was it that you think you were doing at the time? Did you have a strategy that you were using or you were just randomly buying and selling? How were you trading? What were you doing at the time?
I got to think about it. To be honest, I really don't know. Like I think a lot about that time because it was something which, I don't know, like the results have been so crazy back in the days and it took me years to be able to replicate that again. For a moment, I didn't even believe that I can replicate it again because it was so crazy. And I think it was just a time where support resistance worked a lot. This is what I realized because I've been in a channel
remember those times,
and they are very transparent with the signals, but with TP1, TP2, TP3. And what I realized is that only at that year, specifically at those 2 months where I did this entire thing, they had the best results ever. But so crazy, like they are counting their 18,000 pips or something in that 1 month.
Huh.
But yeah, I don't know what kind of system they've used to calculate this entire thing. And of course, it's a lot of fake results, kind of.
Yeah.
But still, if you compare that result to the other ones, it was so big. And they've used only basic support resistance. And at that time, it really, really worked a lot. And that just brings me that the market are not kind of the same always. Like, I think the market is slightly changing and you have to adapt a lot. And this is what they haven't. And many people are not doing it. And this is where many are even losing from my point of view.
So one question here is that you were using basic support and resistance. You were following the signals. You were in the groups and you were just trying to replicate what they were doing. You did make money, but then you ended up losing. After that, how much time you spent learning your trading strategy or maybe what you use right now? How much time it took you to become profitable and start making actual profits from trading?
I think a lot of time because it took me after that one moment, and that was like I started in January with trading, and this was then in Q1 and Q2 where I did this entire journey, and then the entire summer and then also till the end of the year I was only losing, and I kind of lost almost all my money. Because how I even had the money to deposit and to do all these things as a student was because I had a car accident. So I had a very bad car accident after I was in the school, and I failed school I went to a school where you go at night. I started trading at the same time, and I had this bad car accident, and I got money because it was not my fault. And in Austria, you get from the insurance money if you do this. And that was not so, like, it was okay for me, and I could start this business with this entire money. This is then also like how I kind of had this advantage somehow. I don't know how, because I wanted to start with a real job at that time. But then exactly the car accident came, and then I couldn't do anything for a couple of months. And then I received the money, and then with this money, I started my trading journey. And then throughout the school, I also traded and did this thing, but I never like really had a normal job. So it's also like, I don't know, I think everyone has also a bit of a unique path that they go, especially with trading. And it's very hard then also like if you want to replicate that system, because everyone has like a different life, and it's hard at the end then to also understand which are the key factors where you are now profitable or where you're not profitable. So it's very interesting.
So how old were you when all of this happened and you had a car accident?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning it was like, okay, maybe I should not attend a normal job. That was kind of in my head at the beginning, but also like people just try to be sad and then to say, all right, this happened to me, so I have now to talk about this thing a lot. But for me, like, it was something which I used it to start a journey. I used this like a second chance or something, and also to change myself, because also by myself before I didn't really had too much perspectives, because I thought about, hey, I'm going to be a software engineer, I'm going to program something, but I was very terrible at that. And I didn't even know what I want to do, because I wanted to be self-employed. So I thought about maybe I'm going to create some projects and do something to be in that segment. But at the end, I didn't really enjoy that. And trading is kind of something which has to do with that. Like, I was programming algos in the school, and now I'm trying to decode this algo to make money out of it.
Makes sense. So, I am a software engineer myself. I just finished my master's some time ago. So,
really?
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. When you are doing software engineering, you are building algos, and when it comes to trading, you are basically decoding everything to understand what you should be doing in order to make money. It was more than 5 years ago when all of this happened. You had a car accident and you were trying to learn. What was your age at the time?
Well, at that time, I think it was more supply and demand.
No, what was your age?
My age. Wow, my age. I think around 20, 21.
Oh, you were 20, 21. I want to know, what was your parents' reaction or any friends when, you are trading and it's not like very common.
Yeah.
And when you start trading, most of the time when parents see, when you are young, 18, 19, 20 years old, they see that you are mostly losing money. Did they try to stop you from trading? What was their reaction?
Well, at the beginning, especially my father, he supported me a lot. Like, he was like, okay, just give it a try, do your best out of it. My mom was like, all right, a little bit skeptical probably, but also she said, just do it. And at the end, I did it with my own money. I was not asking for money or something, and just said, all right, do it. And my friends just also seen my results, I mean, also my parents, like, this was the interesting part of it, because I think many, when they start with trading, they will actually start losing.
Yeah.
And I started winning.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like the proof there that it works. And this is why I believe they never said to me, hey, you should give up on that. And I just kept going, doing this entire thing. And then they've always seen me winning, losing, but also my friends. But all my friends gave up. Yeah. There was only one friend of mine who did it for a very long time with me. But then he switched to crypto. He's now big in Bitcoin. And I also learned a lot of stuff from him. And I just went the path at the end kind of alone then to really, for this profitable edge that I have right now, it was a lot of hard work to do so. And I'm also glad that I received the support from my parents, because it could have been that they just said, hey, Darius, you have to give up because it doesn't work and so on. And even me, I had sometimes thoughts about, okay, I'm going to go now and get a regular job or something. But yeah, it kind of worked. I always could make a little bit of money, but of course, in the beginning, nothing. And I just lived off this money that I received from that one car accident, which was the foundation for everything, kind of. And also had, like, I didn't need to pay rent at home or something. Also, food and stuff is what I received. So I had a different position. Maybe it's a more modern position that people get now, because parents are more than likely supporting the children. But I believe that would have been right now 20 years ago or something. Then everyone would say, go get a job and do your thing. Like, I'm not going to help you right now out of this. And my parents, luckily they did, because they understood entrepreneurship. This is the entire thing.
That is one of the points as well. When when your parents are already involved in entrepreneurship, so they understand you are starting a new venture, you are starting a different thing, and you actually had a result in the first few months. So definitely that I also believe, because one thing that happened to me as well, when back in the days in 2017 I was starting out, my parents and my brother, my big brother, he also spotted. They all spotted me a lot, and I believe where I am today, I now own a prop firm after making few $100,000 just from prop trading in the past 2.5 years, and almost $500,000 overall, like in the past 6-7 years. I believe now where I am today is due to the fact that when I was 19 years old back in 2017, my parents spotted me to the point that I did not have any job, or I wasn't doing anything. I was just doing my bachelor's. They actually gave me a very good amount of money to invest into trading. I was learning. I was trying, to find the best strategy that will work for me. I did not really make profits in the first 2 years. However, during that 2 years time, when you have someone who is spotting you and spotting the idea that you want to do something different and you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to become a profitable trader. If you have a spot from your parents, you have that motivation. All right, my parents are spotting me, so I need to show them that I can do it. They have put their trust in me, so I need to prove them right. So I believe that's something, spark, like there is a spark in you that you always want to do something exceptional, because your parents, they really like you, they love you, they have trust in you, they are giving you money, they are supporting you in every way. So you gotta do what you got to do for them as well.
Yes, 100%. And I think it's a lot of, like, you need to support. Like, also when you have a girlfriend, like my girlfriend supports me as she works for me, doing a lot of stuff for me. Like, also, like, you need a very good foundation around yourself, because trading is so hard. Even now I have a profitable edge, but still there are sometimes times where it's hard for me, where I go through bad phases and so on. And when nobody can catch you, like your girlfriend, your family and so on, then hey, this is gonna get even more worse. Or your friends and so on. Like, I remember by myself, like one of my friends just told me when it was at the beginning, he was like, but I thought trading doesn't work. Because he asked me like, what are you doing now? And I was like, trading. And he was like, I thought it doesn't work. And I was like, why? Like, right now it's a bad phase, I understand that, but I'm gonna show you, like, it's gonna work. And especially like all the people like from my school or so, like when they discovered, hey, you're doing this kind of stuff, they all have been watching me and like, all right, is it really working? Like, this is like the number one question you always received, like, is it working, when you tell them that you're doing trading and so on? Because everyone, especially in Austria, they only know the stock prices that we have there. And we have just a couple of companies there. And then everyone just knows someone who lost money with a stock. And then everyone just says, okay, that's trading. You can't win there. Or their biggest performance are like 5% in 10 years or something. And then they believe, all right, this is what trading is about. And like you can't talk about trading with people like this. But you can actually then just do your thing. And then they're watching you. And then at the end, they will have an opinion about you. Like, does it work or not? Like right now, I think everyone has a very neutral opinion about me, or looking a little bit up to me regarding this kind of thing, because it's interesting that you go such a way. But you don't have actually time for negativity. When you got people like this, 100%. You have to cut them out and just do your thing, because otherwise this is just going to prevent you from succeeding at the end. And also, like, for instance, my girlfriend, every single time when I'm in that bad phase and so on, she's just here, takes care of me and so on, and just tells me, hey, it's gonna work. And I'm like, okay, I know it's gonna work, but sometimes you just need the support, and that's gonna actually just bring you then again to a new level.
That's perfect. I'm gonna move forward now, and we're gonna talk about, in the past 5 to 6 years when you have been trading, what is the pair that you trade the most? Is it gold, or are you also trading Forex? And how you basically made your strategy, whatever you use right now?
Yeah, so I actually started with trading everything. Like, I had, I don't know, 10 pairs or something. I'm a MetaTrader, and I didn't even know back in the days like how I even understood when I have to close. I basically just waited for everything to turn blue and be a little bit in profit, and then I just hit the close button on all the trades, even on the negative ones, which was okay. But I also understood back in the days that, okay, you have correlation, almost all pairs. When someone is going up, the other one goes down. So at the end, like, it didn't even make sense for me to trade all pairs or something. And then I focused on EURUSD only for 1 year. Then I switched to GBPUSD because it was faster. EURUSD was for me too slow. So I moved on to GBPUSD. And with EURUSD had a smart money concept strategy.
Yeah.
Was okay. It was back in the days when everyone just talked about 1 to 10 risk reward.
Yeah, I
1
remember
to
those
20.
days. Yeah.
I mean, even me, I was like the one guy, 1 to 10, and then you risk 0.1%. I had like 5 losses in a row, stuff like this. And then I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I had a mentor back in the days who was from Germany, and it was a very expensive, high ticket education. And he was the first one who just told me, hey, Darius, we're not here to flex cars. We're here to teach you something which works. And it was back in the days SMC, but also with a lot of liquidity perspectives to it. And he claimed that he worked for a bank or stuff. Whenever I had stories like this is always a little bit sketchy. But he kind of knew what he was talking about. He used also order flow charts, which now I think it's getting more popular because more people are pushing this kind of perspective to it. And I learned a lot of good stuff back in the days about that. And this is where then I changed the strategy from trading with EURUSD with those small stop losses to getting to 1 to 3 risk reward ratio, something like this. And this is when I then focused on GBPUSD only because it was for me easier to see liquidity grabs because it just moves a little bit faster compared to the EURUSD. Yeah, then I remained with that strategy. And that was probably, I think, also the time where I really got good profitable, where I made my first money with it. And I stayed with the GBPUSD then till 2 years ago. And then I switched to gold.
Okay, so when you became profitable on GBP USD, what year was it? Like how long was it ago?
I think it was in my 3rd year, if I'm saying it right now correctly. I think in my 3rd year of trading.
So it took you more than 2 years, like you were in your 3rd year, to actually start to see results. There are traders out there who just start trading and they think that they're going to be profitable within few months. I want your opinion. What would you advise them if they want to become profitable, let's say, and you became profitable in your 3rd year? So what would you advise to them that how much time it's going to take and what they need to do?
Probably longer, I would say, because it's not about what time it takes you to get profitable. It's more than likely what energy can you put in.
100%.
And this is what people always don't really understand, I think, because they all want to have this answer to their situation, like, how long do I have to learn this? Like whenever someone joins my community and then they ask, hey, Darius, how long does it take me to learn your strategy? I'm like, I can't tell you. Like for real, I can't tell you. Like, I don't know what you've done before. I don't know from which country you are, what kind of resources you have right now there and so on. Like people, especially when there are people from the 3rd country world or I don't know. Yeah. They always like, they want to start with $1 and turn it in 1 million in
100%,
in one day. and they also follow them people who are claiming stuff like this. And then they are gonna actually then be scammed and then they're wondering why. So you got to understand, I think that this journey can take you much longer. I even had someone who has been in the most expensive mentorships all around this entire industry. And he was like 7 years in it and still not profitable. Then he joined me and then he was like, Darius, you have the good education. And then I'm like, okay. And then what happened? 1 month later, again, he was not there anymore. He again started to look for a different strategy.
Makes sense.
And again, he was digging in the rabbit hole. So he never could stick to one trading strategy. He always switched around. And I think this is also a big issue that many have. So how long it will take you to get profitable, I don't know, because it really depends on you. Like just go and focus on one strategy which is proven to work and stick to it and put as much energy and time as you can do it, right? If you have a normal job, of course it's going to take you longer. I haven't had that one and it took me still 3 years. Like I had the entire day time for me to do it. I even skipped then school. Like I had to go always at night. And I didn't go to school. I wanted to trade. I wanted to backtest. I wanted to watch that course. I wanted to join that mentorship and so on. But I didn't really want to school and stuff. And I really had 100% focus on trading. And it still took me 3 years.
3 years.
And still it was hard. Like from the 3rd year till the 5th year, it was still not easy for me.
You know, I always say that people, they would prefer to spend 6-7 years in order to become a software engineer, become a doctor. But when it comes to trading, they just want to get rich quick overnight. And they are not willing to spend years and years, which actually is going to be the time that they have to spend in order to understand the price action, in order to understand how market actually works. You are competing against the biggest minds, you know, the brilliant minds out there in the world who are moving the market with billions of dollars. So it's you versus the hedge funds. It's you versus the billionaires who are moving the market, who are taking care of, they're spending billions just to move Euro USD for few pips. And traders or people, they think that they are starting out today and they are just learning one strategy on YouTube or anywhere, and probably it's going to take them a month or 2 months to become profitable. But I always say, man, if you are willing to spend 6-7 years on your education to become, to get a job, which will be a normal job, why not if you spend 4 or 5 years learning, mastering price action, mastering trading, whatever strategy you use, it can be ICT, it can be SMC, whatever it is. But if you can spend that much time, then, the rest is history. It took you 3 years to become properly profitable when you started to see some results. You have made a lot of money after that over the past 6 years. It took me more than 2.5 years. For me, I was a student. I was doing my bachelor's. I was learning trading at the same time. Like, I would say it, of course, varies from a person to person, how much time it will take, as you were saying. But still, people, they need to understand that it's not something that they're going to learn overnight or in the first few months. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of effort that you have to put in, energy, your time, everything. You have to make sure that you are giving your very 100%, and then you will start to see some results.
True. 100%. That's how it works.
Yeah. I want to move on. When did you start with prop trading?
Wow.
You're an OG. Like, you have been trading for 6 years. So you know how when prop firms started popping up in 2021, 2022. When did you start?
Yes. I started with a prop firm who actually didn't survive for very long. And back in the days, that was like the rules they had was very easy. It was funding talents.
I remember that because I was with them as well. They had few models which were, you were just trading the demo account and you were getting 15% profit, consistency rule, non-consistency model, all of that thing. And then they introduced that 8% phase 1 and 4% phase 2 model. I still remember the days. It was 2021.
That was so like I didn't even believe at the beginning the model. I was like, this is too easy.
Yeah.
Like, it was really an easy model. It was not really complex or something. And I even had then very fast the first payout with them, which was around 3K or so. But I can't remember right now what year that was. But I think it was still kind of at the beginning. It was between, I think, my second and third year in trading, but I'm not really sure. Yeah, I had then issues with them because I haven't received then the last payouts and so on. And they always claimed to me regarding some consistency rules. Like, it was for me very weird to interact the entire time with the support. And I was like, I don't know, like, this doesn't feel so good. So I stopped then. And then I also seen that they are shutting down and so on. And then I've seen the alternative, which was then FTMO. And then I picked that one. And this is probably the best so far. Like, it really worked. I stick then to FTMO. I choose back in the days a smaller account. I think it was 15K or so. Received my first funding, my first payout, but then again start to blow these accounts over and over again until then I stopped again with the prop firm space because it was not so popular back in the days. Like
100%, that's true.
Yeah, nobody was really talking about it, and I was like, okay, why am I now spending my energy in that if I can actually just deposit my own money and can make faster payouts and stuff like this? And then the one big wave started with the HFT firms.
Yeah.
Oh damn! Like this was crazy because I couldn't actually believe it because I had then a couple of people who are from my community, and then I started chatting with them about it, and someone was like, hey, I can offer you a funded account. And I was like, okay, how does that work? And then he said, hey, this is the HFT. So I bought a straight 1 million in funding because I was like, hey, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I was then actually a 6-figure funded. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's just make some payouts. And then just to realize that I haven't received any of them. Like, I made with a 500K funded account back in the days, around 30 or 40,000 something. But
the payout was denied.
Yeah, of course.
Because it was due to HFT, or there was some other reason that they denied the payout?
No, they denied it because of they went and they collapsed their system.
Makes sense, yeah.
So it like they haven't been there for a long while, and it was like some more popular influencers talked about it, and this is why I joined it because it seemed like it works. And he passed it for me with HFT, and then someone from my community did it for me, and I was like, okay, it's cool, it's nice. Some received payouts, but I never received one. Like, it all got denied, and then I was just waiting for it, and then I've seen in the Discord that nobody was receiving anything anymore.
Yeah.
I was a little bit too late. This is like in prop firms very often like this. They start the business, at the beginning it works and then it's too late and then you will actually not receive any payouts anymore. So that was then my experience with HFT at the beginning, but it continued because so many new popped out, and then I also was able to get from some of these firms the payouts. But I think for the majority I didn't receive it. They then had like crazy rules which have been hidden or they changed it, and then I'm like, okay. So I never knew 100% like, is it now my fault or is it the fault of the system? And then I just started to go a little bit back from it, not look too much into it. And then a lot of new platforms popped out, and like my Forex funds, the funded trader, and then I started approaching them. And then from there on, it started really to work for me with prop firms as well.
So what was the max funded that you had once? Like, what was the highest level that you achieved in funding?
2.2 million.
You reached 2.2 million,
yeah.
And that's really crazy. And when you were trading 2.2 million, what was the biggest payout that you made?
The biggest payout on one account was with the funded trader. It was around 30,000.
You got that payout, right?
Yeah, that one I received. But the other ones, like I still have one which I should receive, which is again 30,000.
All right, so you're still waiting for a payout at the time when we're recording this.
Yeah, but it's like since the beginning of the year or something.
Oh, so it's like ages since you have been waiting. So most likely you're not gonna receive any payout at all.
No. Like that was done when they start with the issues.
Yeah, makes sense. 2024 start was really terrible when MetaCode started to shut down the pro firms, and then pro firms were looking for new platforms to migrate all their traders. And we saw many firms at the time, they collapsed due to poor management, or maybe it can be due to that they did not have enough capital, enough reserve to take care of the funds that they had to pay to their traders, whatever the reason was it. But of course they collapsed. I want to know, you traded with Funded Squad. You were trading a $50,000 instant funded account because we specialize in instant funding, and we offer $25,000 and $50,000 instant funded account to traders who do not like to do the challenges and they just want to skip the challenges and get their instant funding. But at the same time, they don't have $1,200 just for a 25K account. So we gave them the solution. We brought it. We were like, 25K instant funded account is only for $249, and that is before discount if we are running any. And the 50K account is for $449. So you took a 50K account, you got the payout as well, you traded, and you received over $1,500 payout because you had to make 5%. You made that, and you received 60% of the payout. What was your experience trading with Funded Squad? How you traded and received your payout?
It was really good, to be honest, because I also enjoyed this model, like getting the funded account. Because normally, like, I think you are wasting so much time trying to achieve that, which, yes, it's a benefit, kind of, if you're doing it that way, because it's, of course, cheaper. You get your refund and stuff, and it makes also a lot of sense to follow that model. But for me, especially because I've experienced so many negative experiences right now so far with prop firms. Like, I think in total around 10 prop firms is where I got scammed.
Yeah.
And they should all owe me a lot of money. And I don't want to be too long with a prop firm. Like, I want to really, like I explained it before, you have to be in that one sweet spot, I believe, for most prop firms to receive their payouts and that the system works. So for me, of course, it's for me the best if I can get the funded account straight, I can trade it, I can get the payout, and then actually for me it's stress-free, because I think it's so annoying if you invest so much time and energy and then at the end they just refuse it. And I received that also after I made a 400K challenge where you have to make a lot of money at the end. It's also from the psychology wise, it's a little bit harder to get that. And then you reach it, and then they just deny you to get the funded account because they don't even have reasons for you to tell why. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I spent right now over a month or so to do that. I failed the previous 2 challengers. And then I get only the refund for the last one, but not for the failed ones. So it's a very, very scammy industry kind of. And of course, if you get then a better solution like with you guys, I think it's better. And for me, it was a very good experience. It was the first time I traded on Trade Locker. Very nice interface. I really enjoy that because it's also kind of like if you're right now in the future space, then you're also like, you get to know to trade with TradingView interface.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's great. And also, I think the rules are not too crazy for the thing that you receive. And I think if you just try to continue with that, following the rules, it's gonna work. And you need to follow the rules, or it should be able to do, because otherwise you're not profitable.
Yeah.
Otherwise you would just be the one trader who's just gonna keep blowing accounts and so on. And I think many also have the issue sometimes with, some accounts have too less leverage, but you don't need so much leverage because if you like, I'm also with other platforms or so where you're capped with the lots as you can use.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, why can't I use more? You don't need more because if you use more, you will fail.
You will fail, that's true.
It's it. And with your rules, when you know, okay, so much profit is what you have to make. This is your drawdown. This is your small drawdown. Hey, that is fine. It's actually at the end for real to protect you.
That's true.
It's the first time that I experienced stuff like this with some restrictions lately on some bigger platforms. They told me, hey, Darius, you can't risk more than 1%. And at the beginning, I was like, why? Like, I want to trade it away and how I want it. And then I just realized, hey, it's not so bad. Because at the end, if you will now lose this account with this restriction, it just seems like you don't have a proven trading edge. So if you have fear to go through such a thing, you're not profitable. For real, you're not profitable. And that was like something which opened again my eyes. And I just realized, okay, you really have to pick really good setups. And especially with your account also, I picked only A+ setups. Like I didn't even had a loss. Like the loss that I had was a break-even one. That's how trading should work at the end. Like really looking for A+ setups, following rules which are at the end good for you. Because if you would trade now with a real fun account, with big capital, you will use the same kind of rules. Because otherwise, if you get emotional and one day you lose 100K or something, it's not what you want. So why should this be right now a disadvantage for you? It should be actually an advantage for you to get to learn these things better.
So what you look for when you're looking for A+ setup, what exactly things you need from the market, which makes you certain that is your A+ setup and you are willing to take the risk?
Well, first of all, I think what people don't understand is time and price is what you need. Like, I know many people will now refer to ICT and say, hey, this is the crazy stuff and so on. And yes, there might be some few good things from there, but I believe at the end that this entire thing just works based on time and price, no matter who is telling you that this is going to be like this. Because if you look on the order flow charts, if you look on the mechanics, if you just look in your trading view, you see time and price is what you got the entire time. So that's what you have to follow. You have to understand that this is how the market works. So for me, this is probably time itself is for me more important than price. And then you can actually just figure out in specific time sessions your kill zones where you want to see that the market is doing certain things. Like for me, what is for me an A+ setup is actually I look a lot on fair value gaps.
All right.
I look in my specific sessions. I look on the higher time frame. Very important. If there are people who say they're trading only lower time frame, I think you're missing out on something. If you're trading only higher time frame, you're also missing out on something, I would say.
100%.
You just have a better clarity if you view everything on the higher time frame, the lower time frame. Now, of course, there are a lot of theories about why does the lower time frame even exist? Because the big banks and so on, they're all on the higher time frame. I get you, but at the end, it's all replicated on the same thing and it's gonna work for you. It's gonna be the same kind of thing that it's gonna move the price and you will see the same characteristic behaviors and that's what you wanna follow. You just have to understand what is for you a trading edge, what is your A+ setup. For me, it's right now harder to explain that right now in a few words here or so, because at the end, what I'm looking for is, for instance, I'm looking on the higher time frame to be bullish, right? If this is what I see, you gotta also understand, is it short-term bullish? Is it long-term bullish? You have to be on both sides. Yeah. If you're on the short term, it's bearish, then you have to go also for the bearish. You wait for the lower time frame to align on that. You wait for your kill zone to align on that. And then you wait for some fair value gaps, then some accumulation, manipulation, distribution things, and then just execute. At the end, the price is always going to move up or down. Just think about that. It's really always going to go up and down. The only problem, which most people don't understand, is the market is also accumulating a lot. Maybe it's up to 70% where the market is accumulating. I can't really tell if it's like this, but this is what I've observed. Like it's a lot of accumulation. People get trapped in those accumulations because they can't identify when the manipulation kicks in and when the distribution is going to follow up. The easiest thing to follow is the distribution at the end. If you see it, trade the distribution. But you have like different characteristic on accumulation, manipulation, distribution where people will fail to understand it because it's typically those three movements that the market is giving you. And it's going to be always different the way and how you will approach it when you trade it. For instance, an accumulation. If you wait for a break of structure, which most of us do, and everyone is going to trade a break of structure, no matter if you're an SMC trader or you're an ICT traders, people are going to start bashing market structure because they say, you are my liquidity. But it's not like this. You will also execute based on your market structure. Just because you are now trading your turtle soup or something, you believe you're smarter, you're not. You're trading the same kind of thing at the end. Just many people just have different names nowadays for the same things. And to refer back to the point with accumulation, it's just moving back and forth the entire time. So it's hard for you to understand right now which is the real break of structure. And I think timing is going to give you there an option to understand when that can happen, but also the higher time frame. In combination, you will see better things. And patience, right? You got to wait for market to give you the details. Let it print your information. Don't be such in a hurry. You got to make money today. I'm not trading every single day. I like to trade every day, but the option will not be there. So you got to wait for that.
Like that point.
Yeah. The manipulation then itself is going to be differently. The manipulation is going to drag your attention to the wrong side of the market. Maybe you had a different idea, for instance, long. It's going to go short. And then you're like, I have to take the short. Then you try to take the short, but it's going to go back up. Then you're trying to long it. Then again, it's going to make a sweep and you will again lose the position. In the distribution, most of the people, instead of following that direction, they will wait for the confirmation. They will wait for it to tap into the order block, into the imbalance. But the market will just go like a train, choo-choo, and it's gone. It's not gonna actually wait for you to get into it. So you gotta be very fast as well. So it's like this is the thing which makes trading, I think, so hard, because it's a combination of both. To have the patience, to understand in this phase you have to be patient, then to understand when it's gonna actually manipulate you, and then also when you gotta be fast. And this is the art behind trading, kind of.
The way you explained, I really like the points that you made. I wanna move forward and I'm going to talk about when you're trading. I believe other than having a very good strategy that should work, having the understanding of risk to reward, the most important thing after that is risk management, especially when it comes to prop trading. If you are getting 100K from an account, you're not actually getting 100K. It's actually the drawdown that you're getting, maybe 8K or 10K. That's the amount that you are allowed to lose. So most traders, they don't understand how they're going to be managing their risk. What's your point of view about risk management, how you manage risk, and how when some trades go in loss against you, then what do you do with the risk management?
So risk management was probably for me also the last part that I learned about trading, because it took me a while to really figure it out. And at the end, it's all just a game of numbers.
Yeah.
Like you can always, since I am in this prop firm industry, this was like the first time when I even applied risk management the right way, because you had to do it. There was a daily drawdown. In your personal account, there is no daily drawdown.
100%.
There's only account blowing or not. So it's crazy. And following risk management is probably the most important thing. And I think many have issues with that, because they will then always say, oh, it's my psychology and so on. We're going to talk about this probably as well.
100%.
But risk management itself is probably something, if you just maybe take time for yourself to write it down on a piece of paper, just to reflect yourself that this entire thing is just a math game. Like, if we go to the prop firm space and we just understand, okay, daily drawdown, you have 5% daily drawdown. On a 100K account, 5K.
Yeah.
That's what you can lose. Now, you can actually switch this. Like, if you have only 10K that you can lose, so 10% of 100K account, then it's nothing else than you're trading with a 10K account.
That's true.
Yeah. So this is what got me clicking when I started then into account flipping on my personal capital. And this is then again, the reference point now to the beginning of my journey where I flipped it, but I didn't understand how I did it. Now I have a system where I just use the normal prop firm system to flip accounts. If you use now, for instance, 1,000 and you risk 10%, then it's again a game of numbers. You go with a 1 to 2, 1 to 3 accounts, and you can be very fast at also flipping accounts like this. You could also just, for instance, you use a 10K account, real account. And most people have problems with following risk management. So if they want to take a trade on a 10K, you will probably lose the entire account if you're not doing it. But what if you follow a plan and just go with 10% risk, which would be 1K?
Yeah.
What if you only deposit that 1K on one account and you try to risk the entire account to flip it, which would be a 1 to 2 risk reward? So it's just a perspective to this entire thing. And this changed for me everything, because when you understand the games of numbers and you use it in your advantage, you can only win this game. You can't lose it anymore, because if you have a proven edge and you have your win rates, you have your positive risk reward, in the best case, you don't even need a positive RR to get profitable. But of course, if you got a 1 to 2, 1 to 3, is what I'd go for. I don't even go beyond that. I tried recently a 1 to 4, 1 to 5. It was for me a very big pressure the entire time. When am I closing? When I'm not closing?
Makes sense.
Also, my recent gold trade, I was very close to really hold it for longer. At the end, I was very glad that I closed it, because it reversed totally on me. And I don't really like this approach by myself, holding trades for too long for this big risk reward. So at the end, I think it's better You close your trades, you follow your risk management, and that's probably the best thing to go.
Talking about trading psychology, most traders, and it happened to me as well, to be honest, when I was learning, I was in a stage when I wasn't really profitable. When I was getting losses from market, I wasn't really able to control myself. And all the time it was like, I need to recover the loss. I need to go back in trading. I need to enter more positions and all that stuff. How do you deal with the loss? Because that, I believe, it's most important psychological aspect when it comes to trading, that how you're going to be dealing with the loss to not force yourself into trading. How do you deal it?
Well, psychology is a good point, but at the end, I think the bigger point is actually to have a trading edge. Like, it's also probably right now more popular because back in the days when I started with trading, everyone just said trading is 90% psychology. And I always had that in my mind, psychology, but then I was always not really following the things the right way. And the reason why I think you're not following everything strictly is because you don't believe in it. Like, you really don't believe in your own.
Makes sense.
I mean, if you don't have the data to back it up, like, how do you want to execute it the next time? So you will become more fearless the more often you practice this one thing. And this also comes back to the point with how long does it take for you to get profitable? Well, the moment you get fearless in trading, because there is no way you can make money in trading without risking something. This is why it's also called risk reward. So you have to be able to risk it to get your reward, and you back it up with data. And once you got that, you will be able to do this. Like, why do you need a good psychology? I mean, yes, you need it, but it's going to grow with it. While you're working on your trading edge, while you're working to learn this entire thing, you will also get better at your trading psychology. But it's like you go to the gym. You have to always work on it. You can't just go for 1 month and then you're like, okay, cool, I'm good with it. I'm gonna now skip for the entire year the gym because I will look always good. No, you will then start getting also weaker and weaker. And with the trading psychology, it's the same. So you have to always work on your system, see what's going on, backtest it, prove it again, and also reflecting your mistakes. I do this every day. Like, it's crazy. Like, I can't even imagine myself without backtesting. And I think backtesting is the real psychology you get, because you get better at understanding your setups. You get better at understanding why market moved that way and why not. Yeah. And if you can always tell your story about it, you know your data, you collect your data, then you will be able in future to reference it. Like, you will then actually just recognize your scenario that you're playing out right now, and you will have the confidence in it. I mean, yes, it can happen also that you see something, you have the confidence, and then you lose it. But that is probably the hardest part, I would say, because this is what happens to myself as well. Like, I see the setups, I'm like 100%, I know it's going to be like this. And then suddenly it's going the opposite direction. And then you're like, what is going on right now? And you're like, because you don't have the data for scenarios like this. Yeah. And this is why, because the market is not always 100% the same. It's similar, and it's going to follow at the end also the real directions, but maybe you're at that day not as good as you think. Maybe at that day you missed a point or two. And this is what you have to reflect on. So you can't have the ignorance up front to say, this is going to work like this. 100% is going to move up. No, you never know. So play your games, play your numbers, let it work out for you, reflect it, understand it, and then this is how it's going to work it.
About data, how much time do you think a trader should backtest to actually understand what are the things that they should be doing when market, let's say they are looking at a price action and it's telling them the market is going to go up. They have backtested, okay? And market, they take the opportunity, but it doesn't go up, just like you were saying. How much time do you think they should backtest to understand all the data?
This is a very good question, because I think the moment when you start learning your edge that you're trying to follow, you go down a rabbit hole, and this rabbit hole is endless and you can never finish off. Like, you will always think of, hey, there is something better and so on. And the more things you're changing, the more doors are gonna get opened. And this is gonna make it harder for you then to understand how much data you really need. Because I think you just have to follow some real basic market mechanics. If you understand them, you backtest it. I don't know right now how much data you need, because at the end it references to how many confirmations you're looking for, how many concepts are you building in. I think you can get very fast at understanding each concept and to know how it's gonna behave in a market. It's gonna be more tricky for you to just follow this and then to understand in different scenarios why it worked sometimes and why it didn't. And then to understand your mistakes that you made. You also got to understand, like, your trading strategy. Is it working the entire time, or is it only working in certain market conditions? I think, for instance, if you want to follow SMC, support resistance, or even ICT, the patterns that you try to recognize there is just a consequence of the real market behavior. Like you just see support resistance break, and other traders would say this is, I don't know, we inverse fair value gap or whatsoever. Like there, everyone has a name for it. But at the end, it's not the real reason why it's moving price like this. There are some market mechanics behind it with supply and demand at the end, the real supply demand, like the market makers and market takers, and they're gonna actually move price. So you have to understand their market principles, what they have to follow, the auction theory, stuff like this. And then you will understand why price is moving that way. And then if you don't understand these things, and then you try to collect the data for support resistance breaks, and you never can reference it if it's now based on the real market mechanics or just a coincidence because of your strategy, it's going to make it very hard for you. And this is also why most traders will never get profitable, because they believe they have an edge that works, which doesn't. It's just a lot of randomness in it. And this is why in 1 month they might have a 50% win rate, and the next one they have 20%. And you have to have a system which you can replicate. And for instance, I think timing is the most easiest thing that you can do. Always the same time, but also understand, like for us in software engineering, there is 0 and 1. So you have to understand, should you trade it?
Or should you not?
Exactly. And that's it.
Good point.
I think this is how you can really simplify it. You have to really break down the algo itself to a very simple form that you can read, that you can follow every day. And this is going to make you profitable. Not just trying to be like people who say, hey, I know how this algo works 100%. I invented this thing, or I don't know. And it's so crazy right now what people are talking about trading. At the end, make it easy for you, simple for you, collect your data with that edge, and you will experience profitability. But the moment when you're going to hop around, you will lose, for real.
What would you recommend to traders who are trying to become profitable? They want to start with prop firms. They haven't really found their edge. They haven't really made any profits. They keep losing challenges after challenges. What would you recommend?
Well, actually, it's probably always the best to find a good mentor. I think in a world right now where social media is crazy about trading, it's very hard to understand which one is now legit and which is not legit. And free information is not free information. People always believe, hey, this guy is really teaching me for free on YouTube. I want to follow that. But most of these videos, like if you will search for some with millions of views, at the end, they will not really teach you anything. Like maybe they teach you something which can give you a different perspective to things, but it's not going to make you profitable. You really need an entire trading edge. And people just believe, I have to just find something new. Like I use already supply and demand, and then someone says, I'm teaching supply and demand, then they believe, hey, why should I even learn that? Or when people come to me and they just watch my course and then they're like, oh, this is supply demand, I'm going to skip it because I know that already. But you don't know my perspective to it. You don't know my reference points to it. You don't know how I put everything together. So this is why my edge, even though we use the same concepts, can be totally different results.
Makes sense.
People just don't understand that. So I think it's very hard. Like I even wouldn't know how to start out again. Like I'm very lucky that I actually attracted the right people in my circle of trading, and that I attended those mentorships. Like I had by myself, I think over 30 mentorships or even more. I don't know how many. I always look into something new and so on and trying to refine my edge. But at the end, I'm lucky that I found the things that I am in. And the moment that got clicked for me to really like make this entire thing profitable is just by sticking to it.
Perfect.
That's it.
One word about Funded Squad.
Funded Squad for me was a great experience. I'm looking forward to it. I really, like I just said, I think it's matching the time. It's really matching the time because I think others are not really adapting to it. And I think the model is also like not too expensive or so. You have the options which can make it accessible to most. And I think everyone should join us. You gotta try it out. It's probably the safest way for you to get the money back.
Perfect. Thank you so much, man, for your time and for joining me on the podcast.
It was a nice one.
Guys, this was Darius with us, our prop trader who traded with Funded Squad and received a payout, and we're looking forward to more payouts, man. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next podcast.